Hello, Aries, and welcome to your February 2025 tarot card reading. Let's go ahead and get started here with an oracle card. So what is it that Aries needs to know for February 2025? We start with the card that says you and your loved ones are safe. So when it comes to big choices that you have to make or big changes that you have to implement, this is a really good omen that says it's okay, right? It's okay for you to do these things. It's okay for you to take the leap. It's okay for you to let things go. You might be in flux right now, but it's all okay and it's all going to work out okay. And that it's not going to put you into any kind of a tough spot or any kind of burdensome or oppressive type of place. And it's kind of like a green light to proceed. Okay, so if you needed that, there you go. Okay, let's see what else comes out with the Animal Spirit deck. What does Aries need to know for February 2025? So we have a card that says, well, it's the Badger Spirit, and it says, be fearless and bold. So, I mean, again, if you have choices, if you have changes that have to be made, now is a time to really just go for it. I don't see a lot of red lights. Okay, now, the one thing we have to be very wary of, okay, that there's a lot of turnaround energy in February. Okay, at the beginning of February on the 4th, we have Jupiter stationing direct, and then on the 23rd, we have Mars stationing direct. Make sure I give you the right date. For some reason, I can't remember the 23rd. I don't know why that date is just not sticking in my brain very well. But on the 23rd, Mars is stationing direct in Cancer. So with these two powerful masculine planets, one of them, Mars, being your ruling planet, I would say that this is a month, like I say, a turnaround month, where things that may have been going in one direction now all of a sudden can kind of shift, and you can kind of pull that needle in the direction that you need it to go. But it is going to require your courage. It's going to require bravery. It is going to require you to relinquish a little bit of control and to deal with the fact that you just don't know exactly how this is going to go. And this is huge with the North Node in Pisces coming into this conjunction with Neptune, which I talked about a lot last month in January, because that's when it happened on the 11th. So it's kind of a powerful moment astrologically, where it's like we're being asked to do big things rooted in nothing but faith and hope and belief in the divine as well as belief in ourselves. And that's like as most as we can go off of. We can be as strategized, we can have all the statistics that we need, we can have all the plans in place and whatever, but ultimately when we start to implement these plans and strategies, like it's a great idea in theory, but we're never going to really know unless we actually do it. So that's what I like this card so much. You and your loved ones are safe, because it's saying, Aries, it's okay for you to take these big leaps because you are safe to do so. Ten of Cups really mirrors that energy very, very well. And it says that the choices that you have in front of you, they're not only going to impact you, they're going to impact all the people that are very, very close to you, especially if you have children or close family or close friends, but probably more so family, I would say, and that they are going to be all uplifted by a lot of these choices that you're making. There does seem to be a substantial expansion that you are initiating right now. The expansion could be financial. It could be, going after a new job. It could be looking for a new place to live. It could be to have a child or to have another child. It could be a lot of different things. But the Ten of Cups is a card of joy, a card of emotional success. There's a happiness quality here. And yet, next to the Ace of Swords, it really, really depends on the decisions that you make. And you have to be really, really sure about things. Now, when I say sure, again, I don't mean that you know exactly how all of this is going to turn out, but sure in your decision to do it without backtracking or without, pulling back or having buyer's remorse or anything like that, right? It's like once we decide to go all in, we have to be all in 100%. We don't want to waver. We don't want to be like, well, maybe if I wait for the money, then this will be okay. Or maybe let me just wait for this other job and then we'll see what happens here. And let's see what this other person thinks and let's wait and see. I don't think Aries should be waiting to see. Now, I don't know how impulsive a lot of this stuff is. I have a feeling, because Mars retrograde can sometimes really create that impulse. But for some reason, this feels like something you've been thinking about for a long time. With that Emperor card, there seems to be a longevity quality with this. So I don't think this is something that you're just willy-nilly saying, oh, well, maybe today I'll do X, Y, and Z, and, okay, let's do it. Big, bold move at that point. No, it's probably something that you're like, I've been thinking about this for weeks or months or years, maybe for some of you, and it's time for me to really just go all in. That is one thing that Mars retrograde is good for. Okay, if there's something that we've been wanting for a long time and maybe we've been putting it off, Mars retrograde typically says no more putting it off, no more waiting, no more sitting around and waiting for the doors to open. If you want those doors to open, you have to tear them down and you have to make sure they open and you have to do everything you can to cross that threshold. And I see that Emperor as kind of a conqueror right now. Okay, so it's right, be fearless and bold. I think it's important for Aries to be like your own personal conqueror in terms of conquering your goals. And you can't do it with a whimpering spirit. You have to do it with that divine light. You have to do it with confidence. You have to do it with faith, like a lot of faith. And again, North Node conjunct Neptune, there's a lot of that going on, okay? The other thing that Aries has to be very prepared for is Venus retrograde, okay? Venus is coming into your sign, into Aries, on February 4th, and she will be there all February as she prepares for her retrograde, which officially happens March 1st. Okay, so she officially retrogrades March 1st at 10 degrees of Aries. So through the whole of February, she's moving really, really slowly. And you, Aries, will definitely feel that, okay? And I think there's an element of autonomy there, independence, where, as much as we have other people and there are other people involved, there are certain paths that only we can walk down. We can't do it with other people. It has to be us. And I think Venus retrograde in Aries is making it extremely clear that if we want something, we are the only ones that are going to be able to make it happen. So this is kind of your call of no one's coming to hold your hand, no one's coming to help you, no one is coming. You have to put your head down and be bold and take action and be fearless, okay? So here we have the Five of Wands, Eight of Swords with the King of Swords. Now, the Five of Wands does seem to be a little chaotic. And this could be because you are making changes. Other people have a problem with that. That's possible. You're making changes. You're going in new directions. Maybe other people feel left behind. Maybe other people feel competitive. Whatever. Could also be a little bit of the chaos that inevitably ensues when we start to make these bold decisions and take action accordingly. Because, you're kind of disrupting the still pond, if you will. Like if your life has been kind of stagnant lately, if you've been just kind of doing the same thing over and over and you've been at this level for a while, and you start throwing giant rocks into the pond, well, you're going to get a big splash, you're going to get a lot of ripples, you're going to affect the entire pool. And so it does feel like maybe that's part of what's going on for many of you as well, is you're throwing a giant boulder in the middle of a very still pond specifically to agitate the energetic field so that you can proceed accordingly. So yes, this can affect other people, but I also think like I wouldn't be surprised if you did get chaos, if you did feel pressure all of a sudden, or you started getting people coming out of the woodwork or something along those lines. That would not be surprising to me, especially with Venus retrograde at play. It doesn't mean you have to engage in any of that. It just means that this is what's happening when the energy changes, right? You're disrupting things, so it makes sense that there is disruption. And with the Eight of Swords, this often can represent, sometimes we feel trapped. Sometimes we feel suffocated. Other times it feels like a limitation. And I think more for you, Aries, this is how it's speaking to me, that you've reached kind of the outer limits of a specific experience and you're not quite sure exactly how to go beyond that barrier or go beyond that boundary there, even though you desperately want to. And I think the biggest way to break through this is by taking a big, bold action. And, it's probably something that you don't feel ready for necessarily. I mean, you are ready. You are ready. I don't know if you feel that way or not. So you either don't feel ready for it, or you don't feel like financially prepared. You don't feel like it's the right time, all these things. But the thing is that you can use all of those things as an excuse or a reason, right? Oh, I don't have enough money. Boom, sword. Oh, it's not the right time. Another sword. Oh, this person's not in my life. Another sword. And you just kind of continually put yourself in this protective kind of space that ultimately is going to keep you exactly where you are. And I think perhaps maybe there's a little bit of a temptation to do that, or there's a strong awareness that that is what you have done. And the King of Swords, what I like about the King of Swords with the Eight of Swords right next to it is that it does seem to appear that he has the awareness of his own Eight of Swords. He has the awareness that he's put up this wall. I don't think that, it was originally intended to become a wall. It never does. That's never the intention. The intention is never for us to put ourselves in some kind of protective place. The intention is to keep us safe. But at a certain point, that desire to stay safe all of a sudden becomes a liability. So sorry, I'm not yawning, you guys, I promise. I said this last month in my January readings. I'm like stage 4, stage 5 kidney failure, and I'm on medication that gives me shortness of breath, and it just makes it really hard to breathe sometimes. So I'm so sorry about that. So please bear with me with it. Hopefully that won't last very much longer. It's really hard when I start talking like this. I had to kind of catch my breath. So the King of Swords does seem to have an awareness of his Eight of Swords now, which is a good thing because he can kind of elevate or transcend the Eight of Swords and say, I understand this protective barrier, but I can't have it continue. And he does feel like a warrior, as does the Emperor, as even does the Ace of Swords. There is a warrior-like energy in you right now, Aries, that's saying, I'm not going to let this Eight of Swords win. I'm not going to let my own mind keep me trapped. Right? I'm not going to let my own justifications keep me exactly where I've been trying to get out of for so long. So again, I think you're breaking the mold, or you're at least initiating that process. I'm not saying it's going to be everything all at once in February, but I think you should take at least one giant step, one very scary, difficult step that maybe you don't necessarily feel prepared for, but you should take that step anyway to kind of get the ball rolling in this new direction, okay? Because otherwise, I think there's a little bit of a threat in that Eight of Swords. It's kind of like saying, Aries, look, you got to get out of your own way, because if you're not, you're just going to see exactly with the Tower. I love that. I'm so happy we got the Tower, because it really signifies the big, fearless, bold energy that I think you have to really contend with this month. And again, I'm not saying like it's not going to be easy, Aries. Like 100% it's not going to be easy. 100% you're not going to feel ready. King of Swords, Queen of Wands, Emperor. Kind of an unstoppable duo here. Now, the Queen of Wands also feels like another element of you. I don't think these are other people. I think this is all you. Queen of Wands, another Aries card. We got the Emperor and the Queen of Wands, both representative of Aries. And she is tenacious. She is ambitious. She is passionate, and she is determined. She never lets fear. Like, she's one of my least cautious court cards, I would say. Of all the kings, queens, knights, and pages, in my opinion, she is the less cautious. The least cautious. Did I say less? Least. The least cautious. She is smart. Okay, she's not haphazard or sloppy, but she also understands that in order to move the needle, you have to move the needle. Right? One of my favorites, I say this saying all the time. You may have heard me say it before. I can't remember exactly which book I read. It was some manifestation book I read a long time ago. And basically what the quote was before you can be what you want to be, you have to be what you want to be, right? So in essence, let's say you want to be really fit. Well, in order to be someone who is very fit, you have to do the things that fit people do. You have to eat the type of food that's going to get you there. You have to exercise the way that's going to get you there. You have to have the lifestyle that's going to get you there. And sometimes that does mean drastic changes. The Queen of Wands is not afraid of those drastic changes. She is not, and she should not be afraid of those changes. She looks at the Tower and is like excited by it. I think she does get very excited by the notion that the ominous structure that she's built around herself is now finally coming crashing down. And I really, really like this Knight of Wands, because I don't think this is you. I think now this is someone else. I think this is someone else, something else, some kind of other abundant or prosperous opportunity that's coming bounding in as soon as that Tower comes crumbling down. The Tower comes crumbling down the moment you take that giant action that you know you have to take. It's probably that big scary thing that you have been putting off for a long time, maybe months, maybe years. It's that big scary thing that you've had a million excuses as to why you haven't done it yet. This is your call to say, do it now. Do it now. Get the ball rolling now. You don't have to wait anymore. If you don't want them, you can, but you don't have to. That's the choice that I think Aries is facing right now is, do you want life to continue on to be exactly the same, or are you ready truly to kind of claim this new way of life, this new degree of freedom? And I do think freedom is going to be a continued theme for the next 20 years with Pluto in Aquarius, which is a highly freedom-oriented zodiac sign. Plus now we have Jupiter stationing direct, so I think his theme of freedom is also coming online. And that Tower is what's in the way of you and your freedom. Okay, so this is your call to go big and bold. All right, let's pull out the clarifiers. So for those of you who are new here, we're going to pull out 27 new cards. We're going to pull out 3 cards per card here to kind of open each one of these up and get a lot more detail about every single little thing, so we can kind of give you a more in-depth and comprehensive story. So if you want to join me for that, the link will be in the description box and the comment thread down below. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what comes through for the 10 of Cups. What is it that Aries needs to know? Beautiful Ace of Wands, 7 of Swords, Yeah, I don't want to see Aries getting all in their own head right now. That's the problem, I would say, with Venus coming in, is she can be very hem and haw, wishy-washy, back and forth, indecisive. And I think we need to be extra vigilant about being decisive. Okay, a lot of Aries energy there. A lot of court cards coming out. I feel like there's I don't know that these are really other people. I don't really know. This, yes, but lots of these other ones, it feels more just like different aspects of your personality. Yeah, that Five of Wands didn't feel all that much to do with other people. And I don't really think it does. I think it's more just the kind of chaos that comes with making change. Okay. Really happy with that Nine of Coins. Beautiful World card. King of Swords. Again, King of Swords. Queen of Cups. What else for the Tower? What does Aries need to know for the Tower? Getting a lot of like cross-referencing here, which is great. Two of Swords, Page of Cups. And that bottom one there, the Fool. Okay. All right, so this is where we'll pick up in the comprehensive. So if you want to join, you are more than welcome. Thank you all so much. You guys know I love and adore you. Have an amazing February, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.